Hello, this is Angie with thecountryschiccottage.net. So what can you make with a toilet paper roll? You can actually make a super spooky tree for your Halloween decor. So this video is sponsored by Testors, and it's part of their Testors Crafternoons series. So we've been doing these for the past, this is the third one now. So scroll back on YouTube, watch the other two videos, have a Testors Crafternoon, and make some cute Halloween crafts. So this week we are using Testors Dimensional Craft Paste, which creates all this fun texture on this cute tree, even though the inside of this is literally a toilet paper roll. So super simple. Let's get started and make our spooky tree. For this project, you'll need Testors Dimensional Craft Paste, as well as a few different colors of acrylic paint. Now I'm using 2 shades of brown and black on my project. Then you'll need a toilet paper roll or half of a paper towel roll, some small disposable cups, a craft knife, some sort of pallet knife or just a plastic knife that you can dispose of, a glue gun, a non-stick surface. This is a silicone pad meant for glue guns, but you could also use a silicone baking mat as long as you only use it for crafting. Some sort of tape, a small piece of red tissue paper, some wire. I like to use 20 gauge wire on this, and black tissue paper, a larger piece. So we have our glue gun heating up, and the first thing we want to do is cut a face out of our toilet paper roll. Now this needs to be a fairly scary face, and I suggest cutting a couple of scary eyes and a scary mouth. I skipped the nose on mine, but you know, this is your project. If you want to add a nose to your face, then absolutely go ahead. It needs to be in about the center of the toilet paper roll. Now you have a face cut out of your toilet paper roll, and then you'll just want to tape some red tissue paper to cover the inside. I actually add tape to all 4 sides just to make sure that tissue paper stays in place. Once you have your tree trunk, you'll want to work on your branches. So we'll just need about 4 pieces of this craft wire. Now, the length is completely up to you. And we'll also shape them to look somewhat like tree branches. And again, the shape, completely up to you. So just sort of shape these to where they maybe have a couple of branches on each one. Maybe they're a little crooked. And then you can hold them up. We're going to put them inside of the toilet paper roll holder so you can kind of see how they'll be once you get them inside there. And you can also use pliers to help you do this bending. They come in handy. We'll just want to apply glue to the ends of these wires. And when you work on a non-stick surface, it doesn't matter that you get your glue all over the place. It'll just clean up easily. And then we're going to stick those wires to the inside of our toilet paper roll holder. And then just hold it for just a second. And we'll continue with all 4 in sort of the 4 corners of our piece. You'll also want to make sure that none of your wires are over the front of your face. You want your face to be clear so the light will shine through later. Once everything's glued into place, you can actually bend these wires as needed to shape them now that they're on your tree. And then we just want to wad up the black tissue paper and cover up that hole in the center. Now, these branches are a little thin. So what I like to do is run along the branches with hot glue. And I'm going to do this about 3 times. And I'm going to constantly turn the piece as I'm doing it So hopefully any drips will stay on the branch. But again, I'm working over the top of this nonstick pad, so any drips will clean up easily. So I'm not too worried about it. Just cover up all that tissue paper and also sort of connect your branches more like a tree would be, where the branches would be connected. And the glue may start running down your tree, and that's fine, because what we're going to do next is make lines down the tree trunk. Now, you're going to need a place to be able to set this and hold it. So the nonstick mat is perfect, and as it is, it's a little top heavy. So we are actually going to go around the bottom as well and give him some feet, basically. Think of this as like the roots of the tree coming out. So go all the way around the bottom and give him feet occasionally, or roots. Again, be sure not to cover up your face at all with any of this glue. Then you're just going to want to let this dry completely, just completely cool, and then you can actually just lift it off of the nonstick mat, and the glue didn't stick to that at all. So now we have a spooky tree, but he needs to be painted. So we are going to use the dimensional craft paste and some acrylic paint to add some really fun texture to this project. So you'll need 3 disposable cups, and then you can just open your dimensional craft paste. The craft paste is almost like a Cool Whip consistency, and you can use as much or as little craft paint with it as you want. So you just put it in a disposable cup and then add the craft paint to it, stir it, and when you get the color you want, you just run with it. So I have a darker brown and a lighter brown, and I'm going to mix up quite a bit of the darker brown, a little bit of the lighter brown, and maybe even less of the black. And I just like to unscrew the tops and plop a big amount of craft paint in there and just start stirring. Then once you mix up all 3 colors, it's time for application. Now, you are literally going to goop this on everywhere. No rhyme or reason. Just put it on and let that gorgeous texture of the dimensional craft paste transform your project. Now, if you are doing this for a Crafternoon project, I would suggest having boxes so they can do this in a box and set it there while it's wet, because it will need to dry overnight, and they can just take it home in their box wet, and then it can dry at their house, and they'll have a gorgeous finished project the next morning. Alright, so the colors here are completely up to you. So I did the black, I just mixed a little bit, so it's kind of like a smoky dark gray. So you can mix as little or as much of the craft paint with the dimensional craft paste as you want. And my goal with this first layer is to get it mostly covered, but again, we're going to do a light brown and touches of the black still, so if it's not completely covered, it's completely fine. And this stuff is really forgiving, so we're trying to create a spooky tree with tons of texture, so that means that we can just slap this on and it will look perfect. When your project dries, it's going to look something like this. It may be stuck a little bit, the dimensional paste and paint mixture could be stuck like to whatever you had it on. Just use a craft knife and kind of cut it away. And then, if you want to, completely optional, but you can take some of this fake spider web type stuff and string it through the branches. And then when you're done with that, just put, you know, a battery operated tea light, or I like these little flashing LED lights. You can just put that inside. The light will shine through your face here where the tissue paper is, and you have a spooky piece of decor for Halloween. So this craft is so fun, right? Can you imagine a bunch of these on a mantle all glowing with their eyes, red eyes twinkling, like so spooky. So be sure to invite your friends over, have a Testors Crafternoon, make some spooky trees. I did want to mention that I used about almost a whole jar of this dimensional craft paste for 2 trees. So you'll want to account for that when you buy your supplies, that you will need quite a bit of that. It will vary depending on the look you go for with your tree, but just to warn you, you might want to buy extra. So thank y'all so much for joining me today. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube if you like this. Be sure to scroll back and look at the other Halloween projects we have for your Testors Crafternoon. Be sure to leave us a comment below if you have any questions, you want to see anything else on our YouTube channel, you're so excited about this project, leave us a comment below. Thank y'all so much for joining me, and I'll be back next week. Thank you.